BehindTheMusic.com.au.
My mother raised me to be a strong person, to stand on my own, to be independent, to never look for anybody, to depend on anybody for anything, depend on yourself, and love God and trust in God. And, she raised me that way. She used to always say, especially when I hit about 16, she used to always say, you're not going to make it to 17. I can feel it. I'm going to kill you. But, you go through that with your parents. I did with my mother. I didn't want to listen to her. Everything she said was like, oh, you don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. This is my life. I'm experiencing this. How do you know? I'm experiencing this situation. You're not experiencing this. Little did I know that she'd already been through that. But when you're a teenager growing up, you think you know everything. Because it's so brand new to you. You think, oh, I got this, But that's when she wanted to kill me, when I wouldn't listen to her. I wouldn't obey her. I think, when I turned 19, I moved from my mother's home. I got real grown up, and I said, well, I'm going to move because I can't live with these rules, and you can't tell me what to do anymore, and I'm a grown person. So I moved. And I cried for 2 days. I didn't realize what being on my own really was. Until I think maybe a year after moving, I went to my mother, and I said, Mom, I don't know what I was thinking about, but when I made that move, I took a big step. She said, yeah. You didn't know that? I said, well, I knew that I was taking a big responsibility, but I didn't know how big. And then when you're away from your mother, away from your parents, things I used to tell you start coming back into your head. It's it's wild. And I started to tell her this. She said, yeah, but you wouldn't listen to me then because you didn't want to hear anything I had to say. I said, yeah, and I was really being a little imp. But I remember now, and everything you told me paid off.
BehindTheMusic.com.au.
My mother raised us in church. Church was a part of our life. You had to go to church whether you liked it or not. But growing up, I loved it. I loved going to church. I loved to sing. I loved the choir. I loved the whole excitement of going to church and that feeling there. On Sunday, there's an 8 o'clock service. There's 11 o'clock service. Sometimes, you have the afternoon basically off, and then there's an evening service, 4-ish, 5-ish, something like that. It's all about a praise. It's a constant praise, and it's very loud. It's joyful. We can't contain ourselves when we're singing. It's like you just have to let this feeling go, If there's any difference between the way people see God or feel God or whatever, it's just the way we praise Him, the way some people are very quiet about it. Some people are very solemn, But in the Baptist church and Pentecostal churches, we can't hold it. We just have to shout. We have to praise His name, I didn't know much about Him when I was growing up, younger, in the single number stages. I knew Him through my parents. I knew Him through my family, I knew Him through church. I knew that whatever this God was, He sure liked to sing. He loved people to sing. He loved to be praised, But as I got older and I started to experience life on my own, there are a lot of things that I understood better, and a lot of things that my relationship with God became closer, and I felt Him inside of me. I got to know Him that way, through my own experiences, through my own life.
BehindTheMusic.com.au.
You know how I really know that a song is very special? When I can take it and I can relate it to my human nature, but also my spiritual nature. All the man I need. The words are, I used to cry at night, but that was all before He came. I used to cry myself to sleep at night, but that was all before He came. He fills me up. He gives me love. More love than I'll ever need. He's all I've got. He's all I've got in the world. But He's all the man I'll ever need. For me, I can relate that to my God. There is a love when you know the Lord, when you know God for yourself, that no man or no human spirit can really fulfill. It's a spiritual thing. It's coming from God, which goes far deeper than the human love for me, But all the man I need is a perfect example.
BehindTheMusic.com.au